They say the truth will set you free, but they forget to mention that the truth can also destroy your life before it saves you. I learned that lesson on a rainy Tuesday evening, holding a piece of paper that erased 10 years of marriage and 5 years of motherhood in a single sentence. My name is Sophia. I was a faithful wife. I was a devoted mother to our 5-year-old son, Leo. I loved my husband, Mark, more than my own life. But Mark didn't love me. He loved ambition. He loved status. And when he found a better option, the daughter of the CEO of his company, he didn't just leave me. That would have been too expensive. He decided to destroy my reputation so he could keep the house, the money, and his perfect victim image. This is the story of how my husband faked a DNA test to throw me and his own son onto the street. And this is how I crashed his wedding to prove that biology doesn't lie, but liars always get caught. It happened over dinner. Mark had been distant for months. He was working late, buying new suits, smelling of expensive perfume that wasn't mine. He placed an envelope on the table. "Open it," he said cold, not looking at me. I opened it. It was a lab report. A paternity test. Probability of paternity, 0.10%. Subject, Leo. Alleged father, Mark. I laughed. I actually laughed because I thought it was a prank. "Mark, what is this? Is this a joke?" He slammed his hand on the table. "Don't lie to me, Sophia. I knew it. I knew he didn't look like me. Who is he? Is he the gym trainers or your old ex-boyfriends?" "Mark, stop," I screamed. "I have never touched another man. Leo is yours. Look at his eyes. He has your eyes." "Science doesn't lie," Mark shouted. "Pack your bags. I want you and that bastard out of my house tonight." "But Mark, the prenup," I stammered. "The prenup says if you cheat, you get nothing," he sneered. "And this proves you cheated. You get 0. The house is mine. The savings are mine. Get out." He threw me out. Literally, he dragged me by the arm and shoved me onto the porch in the rain. Leo was crying, holding his teddy bear. "Daddy?" Leo sobbed. "Don't call me that," Mark spat, and he slammed the door. We moved into a motel, then a shelter. For 2 months, I was a ghost. I looked at my son, who had Mark's nose, Mark's chin, Mark's laugh, and I felt like I was going insane. How could the test be negative? I knew with 100% certainty that I had been faithful. Was it a mistake? A lab error? I scraped together $400. I didn't buy food. I didn't buy clothes. I bought a second DNA test, a legal-grade test from an accredited lab. I waited 2 weeks for the results. When the email came, my hands were shaking so hard, I dropped my phone. Probability of paternity, 99.999%. Leo was his son. Of course he was. So how did Mark get a 0% result? I went to the lab listed on Mark's report. Gentech Diagnostics. I walked in and asked to speak to the manager. I showed him Mark's report. The manager frowned. "Ma'am, this format, it looks like ours, but the reference number is invalid. And see this signature? That's Dr. Aris. He was fired 6 months ago for taking bribes to falsify drug tests." My blood ran cold. Mark hadn't just made a mistake. He had paid a corrupt ex-employee to forge a document. Why? I found the answer on social media. Mark was engaged to Vanessa Sterling, the daughter of the billionaire owner of Sterling Corp., where Mark worked. The wedding was this Saturday. He needed to get rid of me fast. He needed to invalidate the prenup so he wouldn't lose half his assets. And he needed to look like the heartbroken victim of a cheating wife so Vanessa's father would accept him. He disowned his own flesh and blood for a promotion. I took my real DNA test. I took the statement from the lab manager proving the first one was a forgery. And I went to the courthouse. My lawyer, a public defender who smelled blood, filed an emergency motion. But I didn't just want a court order. I wanted him to feel the shame he made me feel. Saturday, the Sterling estate. It was the wedding of the year. White roses, string quartets, champagne fountains. I walked past security. I told them I was the surprise singer. I walked into the reception hall just as Mark was giving his toast. "I am the luckiest man alive," Mark was saying, holding Vanessa's hand. "After the pain of my past, after the betrayal I suffered." "The only betrayal," I said, my voice amplified by the microphone I had grabbed from the DJ stand, "is the one you committed against your own son." The room went dead silent. Mark dropped his glass. It shattered. "Sophia! Security! Get her out! She's crazy!" "I'm not crazy, Mark," I said, walking to the head table. I slapped the new DNA results onto the wedding cake. "Leo is your son, 99.99%. Here is the proof from the accredited lab, and here," I held up a flash drive, "is the statement from the lab proving you paid $5,000 to forge the first test." Vanessa pulled her hand away from Mark. "Mark, what is she talking about?" "She's lying, baby. She's desperate," Mark pleaded, sweat pouring down his face. "And one more thing," I said, turning to Vanessa's father, the CEO. "Mr. Sterling, do you really want a son-in-law who evicts his own 5-year-old child to save money on a divorce settlement? If he'll defraud his family, imagine what he'll do to your company." Mr. Sterling stood up. He looked at the papers. He looked at Mark. "Is this true?" Mr. Sterling asked. His voice was quiet, terrifying. It was a mistake," Mark stammered. Mr. Sterling pointed to the exit. "Get out! The wedding is off, and you're fired." Mark tried to grab Vanessa. She slapped him, a sound that echoed like a gunshot. "Don't touch me," she hissed. "You made me believe she was a monster. But the only monster here is you." I walked out. Mark didn't just lose the wedding. He lost his job. He lost his reputation. The judge was furious. Because of the fraud, the prenup was voided. I got the house. I got full custody. I got alimony. And Mark was charged with fraud and forgery. I picked up Leo from the babysitter that night. He looked at me with those eyes Mark's eyes, but filled with my love. "Where's Daddy?" he asked. "Daddy went away for a long time, baby," I said, hugging him. "But don't worry. We have everything we need." I live in our house again. I painted the walls a new color. Mark sends letters from prison sometimes. He wants to see Leo. I tear them up. Biology makes you a father, but love makes you a dad. And Mark failed both tests. The moral of the story: you can fake a document, you can fake a smile, you can even fake a reputation, but you cannot fake the truth forever. Lies are like debts. Eventually, you have to pay them back with interest. Never sacrifice your integrity for money or status, because when the house of cards falls, the only thing that will cushion your landing is the people you treated with kindness. If you build your happiness on someone else's pain, don't be shocked when the foundation crumbles.